Hello, everyone. Welcome to Developing Palates. I'm Aaron Loomis, coming to you from the Ventura Cigar Company studio. And today we have the full house: Jiunn, Liu, Seth Geis, John McTavish. How you guys doing?
Doing good. This also sponsored by Maruchan Instant Lunch.
Heilige Nacht, Freulige Nacht.
So today we are talking about the Caldwell Long Live the King Mad MF Corona. Cigar is 5 3/4 by 43 ring gauge. Comes out of the Tabacalera William Ventura factory in the Dominican Republic. Wrapper is Mexican San Andres. The binder is from Indonesia, and the filler is Dominican Republic, Nicaragua, and U.S. Blended by Robert Caldwell. Price point is $10.40. The cigar was released in September of 2018. So all that out of the way, June. What was your smoking experience like?
First third was the best third for me. So initial interso. I mean, you could tell like right when you smoke the cigar, you're gonna get that gritty dirtiness out of like your, I guess, a typical Mexican San Andreas wrap cigar. So grit filled, earth, dirt, cedar, soft white pepper. Past that mark, cigar picks up. I started getting like red peppers and some cocoa notes, which was really nice. Retrohaling, a big dose of spice. Finished dominantly earth forward with cedar and dirt. Strength is a little above medium, and basically strength was medium full most of the time, but within the first third was just medium, body medium. And as I got into the latter 2/3, I felt like the cigar really deteriorated for me. It showed way more that gritty dirt and earthiness, that it just became such a just you know like just putting some like dirt in my mouth and smoking it or something. So so I didn't really particularly enjoy it. In terms of construction, it was perfect. Perfect burn, perfect draw, so zero complaints on that end.
All right, Seth, how about you? What were your thoughts on the cigar? Rookie move again.
Such amateur. First third, man. Spices. I got a little bit of like the sour fruit in it. Hay, some wood, and I swear to God, have you guys ever had like Nesquik Cocoa Puffs?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, Nesquik Cocoa Puffs were right there in the first third. Delicious. Moving in the second third, a little bit of cocoa, cereal, fruit, sweet spices, earthy. It's more medium full in the second third. I thought the first third was more around the medium level. Final third was just showing that fruit, earth, sweet spices. There was a little bit of a floralness to it. Some tanny fruitness, cocoa, medium full, really just enjoyable, complex flavor offering. What about you, Surgeon? John?
Yeah, man, this was really interesting cigar. I was kind of expecting. Frankly, I was looking at the wrapper. I was expecting that sort of Mexican San Andreas experience, and I don't think that's what this was, because there was that woodiness, spiciness, and then like a really intense like savory spice, which was interesting. There was chocolate underneath it, but the first third was really just like these complex spices, some honey, and then there's pepper that kicked in, and the pepper was like a habanero pepper, not like a black pepper, and so that was kind of interesting on the tongue. And then cocoa kind of took over in the middle third, mixed in with the cedar. There's still a little pepper post draw, but it was more sort of fading to a sort of a generic black pepper. Herbal notes are still there, but sort of underneath the cocoa. And then in the last third, cocoa kind of took over. So cocoa was really the number one profile, with herbal notes kind of really just accent waxing and waning. In terms of burn and construction, I read it as amazing. I did touch it up, sort of, but I feel like it was just me playing around and being a douche hipster review guy, because like it was like the ash was holding on almost to 2 inches, and I was like aggressively knocking it off. So really the burn and construction was good. Now, interestingly enough, my cigar was like tight, and I mean like tight, tight. It was like 2 notches into the resistance spectrum. What was weird is that normally when a cigar is that tight, I can't get any smoke production. I had no problem getting like tons and tons and tons of smoke. So even with a really tight draw, no problems with smoke production. So go figure. What was your experience like, Aaron?
Interesting you're talking about the complex spices. I mean, I was getting like this mix of cedar and this like musty baking spice note that I don't recall getting before. So it was a pretty interesting start. A little further in, that cedar becomes kind of a bit toasty, goes along with that unique musty baking spice. A little further in, the mustiness increases. Baking spice kind of starts slightly decreasing, so they start kind of parting ways. About an inch in, a little bit of meatiness joins the profile. Red Trail is pretty potent. Got a full baking spice up front, a little bit of mustiness in the background. As the first stir is wrapping up, toasted cedar, musty baking spice, meatiness, a little bit of cocoa. I'm gonna go with the little paste structure that Seth has every time he says cocoa. Strength's right at medium. Second, third, still continuing on, except for the cocoa drops out. Retro Hill's got toasted cedar along with the musty baking spice. A little further in, the meatiness starts to increase. All the other notes kind of maintain the levels. A little further in, that meatiness drops out. Toasted cedar up front, mustiness in the background, a little bit of faint baking spice, and strength still at medium. Final third, little mintiness joins the profile of that musty and toasted cedar with a little baking spice kind of dropped out. About a half inch in, starts to warm up a little bit. The mintiness mellows, and the mustiness and toasted cedar is still up front. Retro brings a lot of mustiness, toasted cedar slightly behind it. Kind of how the cigar finishes out. Strength stays at that medium mark. In regards to the burn, it was razor sharp the whole way, but the cigar went out on me twice in the second, third, requiring some relights. Ash held on an 1.25 inch increments. And in regards to the draw, it was a little tighter than I prefer, but didn't really cause any issues with the smoking experience.
Incidentally, I had the spice down as tarragon. That's
Tarragon.
what I identified it as. Yeah, I
Interesting.
know that's super hipster, but like it was weird. I mean, it was
Tarragon.
like I have never tasted this in a cigar before. Or if I have, it's been a very long time.
All right, I'm gonna go to the spice cabinet. I need a refresher on tarragon.
It's unique, man.
Yeah. All right, Jiunn. Overall, what were your thoughts on this one?
It was more identified as dill. Anyways,
No, regular dill is like Mexican dill. You know what I mean?
it was extra style dill. It wasn't for me. I thought that it was a bit too earth forward, and I really didn't like that about it. The first stir, what that earthiness and that cocoa was really nice, but most of the cigar was just not, it wasn't the preferred kind of a profile for me. But it had really good construction, so I guess that's good.
All right, John, what were your overall thoughts? Oh, sorry, Seth, what were your overall thoughts?
I enjoyed it. I thought it had a lot of complexity to it. I thought there was depth. There was good transitioning. It was really enjoyable stick. And, I think Caldwell produces cigars like that, which, some people can get behind, some people can't. I got behind it, man.
What about you, John?
I mean, I'm going to almost mirror exactly what Seth did. I think Caldwell's sticks are really divisive in the marketplace, but, I think what he does, and he does really well, he doesn't make a carbon copy of some other blend that's on the market. He makes stuff that people are like, what is this? And to be frank, there's a lot of cigars out there, and a lot of them taste the same. And, I don't want to smoke a cigar that tastes like a cigar from somebody else.
Yeah,
so it's
you
nice
You want some tarragon.
I want some tarragon. I want to have my
fucking
palate
tarragon.
shock and awed. You know what I mean? And I want to pull a cigar away and go, what is this motherfucker?
Yeah,
Like
spice cabinet tarragon, motherfucker.
Yeah, I got to go to the spice cabinet and be like, what is this? and that's what delivered for me.
Yeah, I mean, I that unique musty baking spice that I got, since my palate is not as developed to get tarragon.
Develop that.
I'll go with that.
Bad mother FM.
Yeah, that's right. But for me, the final third kind of dropped out in complexity and enjoyment. I had the issue with the construction where it went out on me twice. Had to do a couple relates, so I don't know if that kind of led to what happened in the final third. I'd be interested in revisiting it to see if I get a better burning version, to see if it kind of goes along and finishes out at that same level I was getting to the first 2/3. But I mean, if you're a Caldwell fan, you're used to this kind of stuff and getting these unique experiences. So it's going to be an easy buy for Caldwell fans. But
it's kind of funny that I'm the only one that had a tight draw across 4 samples. So
yeah,
it's weird.
Yeah, my draw was fantastic.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I haven't smoked a lot along with the Kings, but I would expect that this is probably not very much in line with the other ones. So
no,
it's a
totally,
unique experience.
It's total departure.
Shocking.
I think I even said that in my review.
Yeah, I think I remember you seeing that. So, all right, so let's get into the scores. We'll start at the top. Seth, 7.88. John was next at 7.22. I was third at 6.47, and Jiunn is 6.10. So, Seth, how'd that match up for your experience?
Lined up really well, man. Caldwell paid me good for that review. No, I'm just kidding.
Every time you
no,
said Coco, he paid you a little bit.
You wish.
Coco, dude, I'm telling you, if I remember Nesquik Puffs as
Yeah,
a
man.
kid, man, and that lines right up with that. So it's just, I, Caldwell produces sticks that I can either really get behind or I'm like, I don't really care to smoke this ever again for the rest of my life. And this was one of those sticks that I just really enjoyed. It just had, it showed, I think, that Mexican quality to it, but at the same time, there was more to it. There was some uniqueness. I didn't get the tarragon, but man, it was pretty sweet. It was a good stick, man. It lines up.
All right, John, 7.22.
Yeah, this is not any generic sampling of other San Andreas you've tasted. I guarantee. And to me, this is, I like when someone takes a risk on the blending, and when you get into the sevens, man, you're getting into that top character. You're not getting into that, I mean, it's good. I like it, but it's definitely not going to be for everyone. There's no question about that.
Yep. So I had 6.47. I think that matches up well. I mean, it was a good flavor profile. The first 2/3 had a little bit of a burn issue, so it knocked it down a little bit. Otherwise, it would have been kind of high sixes for me. So it matches up well. 6.10 for you, Jiunn.
It was the low sixes was definitely helped by a perfect constructed cigar. But overall flavor experience, like I said, not so great. I'm on the other side of the camp, man. I don't want them to use like heavier tobacco like the Mexican San Andreas and making like the sun grown stuff. Like I'd rather have him go back to the original Eastern Standard and using that Connecticut shape Brazilian Matafina hybrid and things of that nature. Like that's the Caldwell that I really enjoy. But I have a very close source that's very close to Caldwell, and they're selling the shit out of this new heavier stuff and the stronger stuff. So what am I to say? Sales rules.
He's a wild
Exactly.
horse, man. You can't keep him in the pen.
No,
I didn't think it was that heavy, though, man. I don't think it
Yeah, I
was
didn't
too
think it was that
heavy.
heavy.
not heavy per se, but stronger. This is definitely more stronger
It's
than most
intense.
Caldwell stuff.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of flavor profile, it's definitely way dialed up from his other stuff.
Yeah, and when I recollect on my spice cabinet, tarragon is such a strong herb and
Oh yeah,
spice. You know what I
like
mean?
it was just I mean,
Yeah,
you go in your
it's
cabinet,
way
you take
more.
a whiff of that. It's just like whoa.
I mean,
I
think
mean-
about what cultures use tarragon in their cooking, and then think about that.
Yeah, it's no Nancy.
Yeah,
You're not putting it on your puff pastry. I'll tell you that right now.
yeah.
No,
No, I'm
you're really
Not
not.
Mexican Cuban.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
he's not afraid, man.
Yep.
All right, guys. Before this gets too far off into the culinary world, if you just catch this video on YouTube, you should subscribe to us. Also, check out the full written review on the website, developmentpalates.com. Follow us on all the social media channels, and you catch all of our review recaps on podcasts, iTunes, Google Play, and Podbean. Thank you for tuning in. We will catch you on the next one.
Long live the king, mad mother.